Hey guys, Jeff here, Strategic Response Tactical LLC in Gilbert, Arizona. I'm Senior TAC, and thank you for watching SRT Armor on YouTube. This is brand new. I haven't done this before, and I figured that, you know what, probably a good time to start doing this stuff. So this is what I'm going to call the tabletop discussions, as if you and I were sitting down at this table and you ask me a question and I answer the question to the best of my ability. So let's get started with this. I got an email from this gentleman this week. His name is John K. He's from South Carolina. How you doing, John? Hope you're having a great day. His question is, and keep in mind, a lot of this stuff is subjective. And it's subjective, and people's opinions play into a lot of things. And I'm not purposely trying to say something that's going to offend anybody or anything like that. But if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer the question. I'm 100% honest all the time, which gets me in trouble. But anyway, so here's this question. Is my PSA AR15 just as good as a Knights Armament SR15? Well, John, again, this is subjective and this is opinionated. A PSA AR15, you probably spent maybe a little south of $600 for the rifle. The Knights Armament SR15 is looking at, could be potentially $3,000. So you have a $2,400 difference in price. Now, here's the real question. Is that SR15, that Knights Armament SR15, $2,400 better than that PSA rifle? That's my question for you and for other people out there. So let's get into the weeds on this one. SR15 versus the PSA AR15. So a little backstory on Knights Armament. Reed Knight, the originator and founder for Knights Armament Company, interesting cat. I met him years ago. Very interesting dude. A lot of people don't like him. But he's kind of like Bill Geisley. A lot of people don't like Bill Geisley, but you have to understand these guys are engineers, and they think from an engineering standpoint. I think Bill Geisley is a little bit more engineer-oriented than Reed Knight was. But anyway, Reed Knight and Eugene Stoner knew each other. They hung out. They hung out quite a bit. So a lot of the things that Knights Armament did and is still doing to this day is based on Eugene Stoner's design. And anything that Reed came up with back in the 80s, he talked with Eugene Stoner and got his opinion on it and a blessing to how it would interact and work with his design. So that in a nutshell being said, the Knights Armament stuff is as close to mil-spec that you can get, other than actually being in the military and having your hands on a mil-spec weapon. So it's possible to get there now. They're kind of expensive and everything else. But yeah, keep that in mind. PSA and all the other manufacturers, with the exception of LMT, PRI, trying to think of some of the others. Those are the two that come to mind right off the top of my head. They are all mimicking what Eugene Stoner's original design was. Nothing wrong with that, as long as they follow the TDP specifications for it. So I can tell you from experience, the PSA line of weapons have the potential. Some of the components are very much mil-spec. Some of the components are very much not mil-spec. I did a video, and you can look in my past videos of, I compared a PSA lower receiver to a COLT lower receiver. And you know what? If you covered up the roll marks and checked one against the other, they were identical. Literally identical. There was one dimension that was off a little bit on the PSA, but it wasn't in an area that was critical to the function of the gun. So If all things being equal, and you'll hear me say that in all my videos, if everything is the same, why does one considered better than the other? Why is one more expensive than the other? A lot of that goes to branding and contracts. Knights Armament has government contracts. They've had government contracts for decades. Hence the price that they require for their components. You go try to buy an SR25 right now. You're looking at probably $6,000 to $7,000 for an AR-10. No joke, because it's a Knights Armament. Am I saying Knights is bad? No, I'm not saying Knights is bad. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you're paying a premium price because of that contract and the amount of money that they can make off that contract. Then they pass that off to you, the consumer, that wants the same stuff. When you have military money to purchase things, it is so much easier. You don't worry about how much stuff costs. You know, toilet seats for $1,500. Toilet paper for $300 a roll, bananas for $100, right? Guys in GWAT know what I'm talking about. So anyway, that's the Knights. PSA makes good stuff. A lot of their stuff is, again, subjective, is pretty good stuff. I am seeing a lot of componentry that's coming out, and take this with a grain of salt, that's pretty good stuff. Now, when the rubber meets the road is when it gets to your house and you're putting things together. Is the quality control on the PSA the same as the quality control on the Knights? And unfortunately, I hate to say it's not. Knights has a higher standard for quality control than PSA. PSA, I think, if you're listening, if you're trying to be serious in what you're doing, you need to increase your quality control. You need to be willing to turn away and nix the stuff that doesn't pass quality control, TDP standards. If it doesn't pass that, then don't sell it and don't put your name on it, because that's dragging your name through the mud. So anyway, Knights has very high quality control. BCM also have very high quality control. Daniel Defense, they have very high quality control. Again, these are companies that have government contracts, as opposed to PSA that doesn't have a government contract. They don't have as much money to spend on quality control as these other companies. But you're paying for that in a premium the cost on the weapon. So, what makes an AR-15 good? And I've got two examples right here. These are the heart of the weapon system on the AR-15, the barrel and the bolt carrier group. If you have and I'll talk about the barrel specifically for a second. If you have this is a 16-inch, not a 14.5. I've got the 14.5 in other weapon systems, and it's actually got an 070 gas port, so really good gas. This is a 4150 chrome molybdenum steel. It is cold hammer forged, and it is chrome lined. It is to spec. That's what you should be looking for. If you're wanting to build a really good, solid, reliable gun, you need 4150 chrome molybdenum steel, chrome lined, cold hammer forged. And it has to be phosphate coated. If it's black nitride, it's not going to be chrome lined, for one thing. And I won't get into the details of the black nitride. I don't have anything against it, but it's not mil spec. It's not TDP spec. The bolt carrier group, that's the other aspect of that's the other half of the heart of the gun. The carrier itself has to be 8620 steel. It has to be phosphate coated. It has to be chrome lined. The gas key has to be installed with a sealant between the key and the carrier, and it has to use gas key screws that are torqued to 58 inch-pounds, and it has to be staked just in order for that to meet TDP specifications. The bolt, where a lot of companies fail, is they batch test. And when I say they batch test, some don't do any testing on them at all, and you should run the other way from those at every chance that you get. If they don't say anything about doing any kind of testing on the bolt, don't buy it. But a TDP specified bolt is 158 Carpenter steel. It's high pressure tested, magnetically particle inspected. right? Those three things right there, 158 steel, high pressure tested, magnetically particle inspected, and it'll say HPI or HPT MPI on the bolt itself. This one does not have that on here. I don't know if it's been tested, hence it's used to check headspace. I know the other dimensions are perfect on it. Would I run this in a gun? Absolutely, I'd run it in a gun. Wouldn't have any issues with it. But what my expectations for this bolt are a lot different than what a mil-spec TDP standard bolt would be. So, to reiterate, barrel black phosphate, I'm sorry, not black, magnesium phosphate coated, chrome moly 4150, vanadium steel, cold hammer forged, and chrome lined. Bolt and carrier, bolt 8620 steel, chrome lined, phosphate finished, chrome lined gas key, phosphate finished as well, sealed, and the screws mounted properly at torque to 58 inch-pounds and staked properly. The bolt itself, Carpenter 158, high pressure tested, magnetically particle inspected. Now, I could go into great detail of what you should look for when you're getting bolt carrier groups. That's for another video. And if you want to learn more about it, come to a class. So I'll be happy to teach you all that stuff. So anyway, I like to equate rifles and the comparison between one rifle brand and another rifle brand to cars. Everybody likes cars. Most people, you either like or hate Mustangs. I personally like Mustangs, but I like Corvettes. I like Camaros. Some of the Camaros I can't stand. Some of the Corvettes I can't stand. Some of the Mustangs I can't stand. I would equate an AR-15, a baseline AR-15, to be a Mustang GT, because Mustang GT has a standard base level performance. It's going to function. It's going to run, right? That would be a standard AR-15, a PSA AR-15, you know, with a free float handguard, no sights, nothing, no optics, anything else on there, no cool furniture, anything like that. Compare that to the Knights Armament SR15. I would say that the Knights Armament falls into the lines of the Shelby GT500, and that's not a far stretch of the imagination. If you've ever been in a Mustang GT, you know what I'm talking about for a standard AR-15. If you've ever been in a GT500 Shelby, you know what I'm talking about. That's the differences between the two. They both work, they both run. And that is the subjectivity of the question that John's asking: is your PSA AR-15 just as good as the Knights Armament SR-15? If it functions and if it works, then it's doing what it's supposed to do. If you have issues with some of the componentry on it, change it out. That's your call as the owner of the gun. But to say that the SR-15 is $3,000 and $2,400 better than a $600 PSA AR-15, I don't know that I could say that. I really don't know, because I know there's other things that play into the cost of the gun. If you remove the government contract aspect of it and everything else, you're probably looking at a $1,200 to $1,500 gun, legitimately. That's just my humble opinion. 40 years of experience and all these certifications that are hanging on the wall behind me that tell me that, and that's fact, that I know for a fact. So anyway, sorry John, I can't say that your PSA AR-15 is just as good as the Knights Armament SR-15. That's my opinion on it. Some can agree, some can disagree. You can discuss in the comment section if you want. I don't have a problem with that. I'll answer questions. Just be civil when you're asking questions, and if you disagree, be civil, and I'll return the civility. How about that? But yeah, hopefully this helped out. This answered a little questions. I've got other emails that's going to create tabletop discussion videos here pretty soon coming up. I don't really know. No, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to let that cat out of the bag. But I've got other videos that are coming out on some inspection videos I've done that not just as good as the all things being equal videos. You're going to like these. So anyway, hit the comment section, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Share the video with other people, have them get on there and watch some of the other videos. Some of the content is haphazard because I do it right there on the spot. I don't use multiple cameras. I don't do a lot of editing or anything like that. I like for you to see what's going on. So I'm changing some of the way I'm doing the video and making it a little bit more theatrical, I should say, and making sure that you can see everything that's going on. So thanks for watching. John K., thanks for your question. Hope you're having a great day. Hope everybody out there is having a great day. Be safe, be vigilant. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. Trump 2024. He may be an asshole, but he's my asshole and he's got my vote. So have a great day. Jeffrey D. Mitchell, Senior TAC, out.